You get it to Budapest, and then you get one of the branch lines down to Belgrade, and then you take the red route down to Constantinople.
And just to say, we're all feeling a little bit. We're not sure whether we trust this dude that's getting on. We're not sure whether I think he's a big collector, isn't he? We did some research. That von Hoffler,
Yeah,
so
he's a renowned occultist, and he's well known.
But he already knows all about the Fez, so it's not like we're hiding anything from him.
Well, no, he knows all about that, and I think generally the idea is we're going to Istanbul, Constantinople, and this von Hoffler, Byzantium. No, this von Hoffler dude is going to help destroy the Fez. Like he might have some knowledge that might help destroy it.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're not 100% sure maybe if that is his intention. We're just very untrusting at the moment.
What do we know about the Fez? You shouldn't put it on, you shouldn't touch it.
Yeah, really hard to destroy. And you need a particular book that might have a ritual in it that can destroy the Fez. We haven't found the book. We did do some research because we went to Paris, went to some libraries and whatnot, and we did try to find this particular book, but it wasn't there.
There's a book called The Whispering Fez that is the main artifact that gives you all the spells and things that you need to use the Fez.
So and of course the Fez burrows into your head, doesn't it?
Comes a sealed unit here, and it won't come off. You're in Charles-sur-Main, and you're hanging around for a couple of days waiting for the Orient Express. And the whole point of this was to avoid the route you were supposed to be taking, because presumably there are going to be men in fezzes waiting to knock you off. So you think you've avoided them if in fact they were there. You're hanging around for a couple of days. This lovely little French town called Charles-sur-Main. And there's a bustling station there. I've got some images of it. It's very small and basic. It's 1893. So yeah, it's a small town. And the only thing notable about it really is that the Orient Express goes through it, and it's a connection.
Yeah, I think we were just waiting now to...
And you're killing time in the bar or the restaurant, just hanging around.
Would it be worth trying to take the Fez to Holy Ground and see if there was any interaction?
I mean, I don't
well, there's power. There's power in Christianity. It might be worth it.
And weren't we also trying to find a way? Did we decide how we were going to properly contain the Fez? So I think there was a lot of talk of like a metal box, or there was something we were thinking about how to make sure that.
In the last session, I had suggested that we could try sealing it in like this era's equivalent to epoxy resin. I had to look up online though, because epoxy wasn't invented for another good couple decades, but resins did exist and were used. But I'm thinking the safest bet would be to encase it in some kind of chemical resin that will not rust.
So now it's in a peppermint and brown hat box, which I believe you're the caretaker of currently, Gary.
I would like to think so. Me or someone else. I don't think I have that in my inventory, but I was just suggesting that we...
I'd be okay with like a lead box or something like that.
Maybe we could do both. We could do we could encase the Fez in resin and then put the resin encasement inside a lead box, and we could have double the containment.
I mean, the blacksmith idea might be quicker, but I don't know how long we spent in Paris. The train might be coming soon.
I think some kind of decent locked container, just something as a deterrent, really.
So at the very least, you want to put like a padlock or something onto this hat box.
Yeah, and put it in a metal box if there's something that's off the shelf. Like a strong, like a, I don't know, strong box. If we can procure like a small strong box.
How about handcuffs to us? They're not going to cut off my arm and take it.
This does give me an idea. We could try encasing it in some sort of artwork. Like if we were to... we could try sealing the Fez inside an elaborate artwork and make it look like some auction piece that's going to this rich guy in Belgrade.
Paper mache statue of David.
Oh,
inside.
That could be a great disguise, yeah.
I'm down for the option. I just want to throw the idea out there that we should try to make some kind of chemical cast or something, a disguise to containerize the Fez, so if anyone gets nosy in our possessions, they'll see what appears to be an elaborate art piece, and we can have a convincing cover story.
Everybody wants to put it in a box and maybe reinforce the box. You want to go one step further and then case it or disguise it fully, so it doesn't look like a Fez anymore. It doesn't even look like a hat box. It's something else.
Correct.
Place it inside a cake and say
cake. Cake fez? Put the fez inside a cake fez?
That sounds bizarre, but unless we could say that we're transporting an exotic American recipe that isn't known to Europe, we could try something like that.
If we've just been to Paris, we could say that we've been in touch with a famous chef. We're transporting it to the Baron to show our allegiance.
You're sitting around having this conversation in the
cafe, one of those French cafes, right? Yeah.
You're actually approached by, you see somebody watching you, and he looks quite smart. He wears a suit. He's quite well presented. He looks over at you and says, travellers with an air of mystery. Always the most intriguing kind. Forgive my intrusion. I couldn't help but notice you seem to be in the middle of something rather interesting. My name's Bentley Burnham. I'm a journalist. I make it my business to uncover the unusual. And you, my friends, look like you're doing something unusual.
You don't have many cowboys in Paris?
I'm always on the lookout for a great story. What are you up to?
What do you think? Should we invite this gentleman for a drink? Kind of looking at the rest of the group like, hey, well, what do you... Eyebrows? What do you think?
I'm just going to say, Amelia Meadowcroft, pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Pleased to meet you, he says.
Put my hand out.
Says, I'm Bentley Burnham, journalist.
I mean, it must be a slow day, Mr. Burnham.
Well, I'm just waiting to catch the train, much like yourself. Travelling to Strasbourg. Going to write a story on some engineering advancements. But yeah, I'm always chasing stories. If you ever find yourselves in possession of something that ought to be told, well, I'll be happy to listen. And he looks at the box that you're holding, Gary.
I look at him back and say, it's just some mundane item, of course, but we were just discussing constructing an art piece for a wealthy patron in Belgrade. He has commissioned a rather fabulous piece. But tell me, before I continue, of course, my name is Gary Walter. My apologies for forgetting the introductions. You said something about advancements in engineering and writing a story on that. Would you care to enlighten me on that?
As long as I can trust you. I'm actually investigating German intelligence operations that are running right under our noses. Apparently there's been a great deal of interest in British industrial advancements of late. Military applications. If Berlin wants a foothold in British innovation, Stuttgart would be an excellent place to funnel stolen parts through, he says, and he winks at you, if you get my drift.
Well, not sure I do. This all seems a bit above my pay grade. I'm not sure I do get industrial.
You begin chatting at the bar. You just came over from London a couple of days ago?
Does my costume show that to be so? Absolutely it does.
Well,
good
I couldn't
observation.
help but notice you.
Everyone from all over the world wants a trip on the almost mythical Orient Express. Even in Texas, we've heard about it.
Well, any excuse, isn't it? Any reason in particular why you're travelling, sir?
Oh, you know the famous waters, the healing waters in Turkey.
Oh, the baths, of course, yes.
There you go, yeah. I actually went to Bath here in England, and, they weren't what I expected. They were huge. They didn't look like bathtubs at all.
Mr. Walter?
As I said, I am working on commissioning a piece for wealthy patron in Belgrade. I want to do, out of character, what would be the equivalent of insight? Because I'm going to throw psychology and see what happens. I'm going to spend 1 luck point to make that a hard...
God, I totally forgot we were playing a game of rolling dice.
There you go.
I'm down to 81 luck. Right. I'm trying to gauge what his intentions are for asking us this and why he's approached us. I'm trying to determine whether or not he could potentially be involved with the group that was pursuing us in London.
There's something not quite right about his story. You're not sure it adds up. Sometimes you have a conversation with someone, other times you just feel like you're being pumped.
Good call.
Can I roll spot hidden? Now, I'm very well travelled, so does he look like somebody who is a journalist? Is it?
Well, he certainly looks smart, and he looks like he could be a journalist. What does a journalist look like?
Yeah, I guess. Where did he say he was from again? Is he local or?
He's
from London. Okay.
I mean, since she was talking about spot hidden and everything, perhaps you could look at his fingers and see if they're ink stained. Of course, this is out of character. Percy wouldn't know anything about that.
Yes, can I just roll to see if there's anything that makes me believe that, or even if his hands, do they look soft or are they callous?
You could give me some kind of roll insight.
Regular success. So.
Roll regular success.
4, I'll spend 4 to make it hard if it's going to give me... Well, I'll just spend it.
He seems more interested in you than the stories that you might have to tell. He's asking you where you're going, where you've come from. You do feel like you're being pumped a little bit.
And watch this guy.
While this is happening, you see a gentleman walking past the cafe or the bar where you are. He's exhaling sharply. He adjusts his cuffs as he steps past this tramp that's been harassing him all morning. His patience is clearly wearing thin. For the last damn time, whatever it is you want from me, I can't help you. Evan Nye snaps at the tramp, adjusting his grip on a worn leather coat. He's usually measured, but he's frayed and in a bad mood today. There's frustration in his voice. The tramp, wrapped in layers of ragged cloth, leans towards him, whispering something hoarse and unintelligible at him. His breath is cloying and acrid and smells of vomit and onions. As he speaks, you feel a drop of spittle land on your lip.
Oh,
Your eyes narrow.
I gotta look for an escape route. This is the train station, or
This
where
is
are
a
we?
station. You can see this small bar.
Okay. Well, shoot. Is there any obvious escape route where I could not easily be followed?
There's the hotel cafe where you can see some
Oh
people
yeah,
in
let's
there.
go over there and yeah, let's go over there and we'll find a table to sit at in the cafe.
So you see this gentleman walk into the cafe and he's adjusting his cuffs as you see one of the guards pushing back a milky-eyed tramp who's been harassing him, and he's muttering to himself, Christ, I should have taken the morning train. And he looks around and you make eye contact.
I approach the tramp and say, are you in need of service, my son?
The tramp's been harassing Evan, and Evan walks into the cafe. The vicar, Ezekiel Baptiste, stands up and he approaches the tramp and he says,
Are you in need of service, my son? Is there anything wrong?
He grabs you by the sleeve, and his grip is shockingly strong. His eyes are blind and unblinking. He wheezes. You can feel his warm breath on your arm. I need your help, Father. You've got to come now, he pleads, tugging at you. There's a man dying round the corner from here. He's calling for a priest. He's tugging at you. He's sweating slightly.
Can I make an insight check?
I think it's psychology, right?
Psychology, okay.
To see whether he had an ulterior motive.
Oh, to see whether he's genuine or not. You've got to believe me. You've got to come, Father. If you don't, he won't see morning.
Oh, right. Okay. I think we should follow him.
Padre, shouldn't you call the authorities? Surely there's a man in uniform around here who can help us.
I think he's asked. Well, I approached him and he's asked me for help, so I am kind of duty bound to do that as a man of the cloth.
Well, I'll back you up.
I'll back you up, but I'll make sure to guard the box. I give a weary look at Bentley, quote unquote Bentley, and tell him it's been a pleasure chatting with you, but I'm afraid pressing matters require my attention.
Evan's just walked in here and he's just got rid of the tramp, and the vicar's talking to the tramp now. So, Evan, are you going to say anything?
Sit down and I'm just going to order a coffee.
Father, you've got to come. And he's tugging on you. Come on.
Okay, I'll follow him.
I believe two of us said we'd go with the
Are
Padre.
you going? Two of you are going with him.
I'm going with.
So, Gary, you're taking the fez.
I'm taking the fez naturally because I don't trust this Bentley guy. He's way too soft.
He's clearly curious about what's in the box. The tramp, he drags you around the corner, and there's this little shack falling down around the side of the station. He takes you inside, and you can actually see there's a few hobos, tramps, whatever you want to call them, lying down, and there's one of them clearly on his last legs. He's dying.
Okay, go up to him and look at him more closely.
He needs the last rites, Father. Can you give them to him? You'd say he's got about an hour to live.
Well, you need to find a Catholic priest, right, for the last rites?
Well, I think he'd be satisfied with what he can get.
I will give him his last rites. Yes, if he this is what he wants, then this is what he gets.
The man's lips are trembling. He's trying to form words, but he can't. He's too weak. He knows he's going to die soon, and whether you believe them or not, or whether you feel anything at all, really is irrelevant because the man's dying.
Okay, so I crouch over him and holding his hand, I quote James 5:14-15, New King James Version. Is anyone among you sick? Jesus said, let him call for the elders of the church and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer of faith will save the sick, and the Lord will raise him up. And if he has committed sins, he will be forgiven. Amen.
And there's a moment of silence. It's a very quiet, serene moment, and then when it's over, you're going to buy me a drink now, Father? You don't need to. I already know you will.
I will. Are you in need of a drink, my son? Do you have the DTs?
I lost everything, you know, Father. My house, the wife, the dog, taken by the fever, Father. Just need a drink.
Well, okay. I can spot you one drink. I'm happy to, in order to alleviate your suffering, but no more.
I knew I liked you, Father, he says. We're going to cut back to Evan and Amelia.
Yeah, I'm going to try and make him feel really uncomfortable and just ask if there's a Mrs. Barnum. Where did you grow up in London? I'm just going to try and find any kind of holes in his story. Where did he grow up? Where did he study? Is he married? Has he got children? Blah, blah, blah.
You really do get the feeling he's bullshitting you a little bit, and you do trip him up once or twice. As this is happening, Ezekiel, Gariel, and Percy walk back into the cafe, and the tramp is outside. He walks in with you, expecting you to buy him a drink, Ezekiel.
Okay, I'll absolutely buy him a drink. What would you like?
Something strong, Father. A whiskey.
Okay, a single nip of whiskey, please, bar person.
I
would
am
like
going.
to... Sorry.
I was just going to say that I wanted to do a spot hidden check to see if Bentley's still lurking around.
Yeah, he
spying
is.
on it.
He's at the bar with Kabuya, and Kabuya's chatting to him, but I don't know whether it's the drinks or what, but he's already tripped up once or twice.
Hey, Padre, maybe we should take this guy over to the church. He can go on ahead and get some help. I hear they're pretty charitable here in Paris.
I think that's an excellent idea. Would you be willing to do that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And the homeless man, would you be okay with that?
Yeah. Buy me another drink, Father.
I'm sorry, but no, I can't. I can't do that. That's one, to relieve your suffering, and then we'll leave it there. But I'm sure the church can help you further.
So what, you're going to take him off to the church in Paris?
I think so, yeah. I'd like to.
You're going to wheel him off?
That's a good cover.
That's actually a good idea, and I'll see if I can do some research on, or look around for materials to make an art piece to disguise their fez better.
Maybe even buy a hollow statue or something from the thrift store.
Are you going to try and take the hat to the church as well?
Yeah, I'm sure they have a local.
Try and do two birds, one stone. Get the man who happens to be homeless and to the
Sounds
church
good.
and the hat.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we should. I think we
You're
should all stick together. I don't want to be stuck with this bloody weirdo Burnham bloke.
Evan, you're here because you've been employed by the Sultan in Constantinople to do his tax affairs, and you've been given a first-class ticket to ride the Orient Express to Constantinople, and you're going to be his tax lawyer, and you're getting paid a lot of money to sort out the tax affairs of his ailing empire.
Well, it's probably best I don't get into trouble on the way, so I'm just going to enjoy my coffee.
So the rest of the guys go into Paris. I presume Amelia's with you. Paris is a fantastic place, and you make for a church. One, to give the tramp over so he can mend his ways and turn to God. And the other thing is you want to do something with the fairs.
Yeah, well, not necessarily turn to God, but to receive charity.
So you
Oh,
do while you're there.
Hey, that's an idea. Why don't we get would the fez fit in a funerary urn?
Funerary urn. Yeah, probably would.
I got an idea. So, since we're going to a church, a holy place, Gary will ask if it would be possible to contain the evil of this fez by putting it in a funerary urn and filling it up with blessed oil and blessed water.
I think there'd be no harm in it.
Well, it might stain the fez, but being is that it melds itself to people's heads, maybe I shouldn't be worried about that. Bishop?
No, we could have the local priest read a blessing over it.
Well, I trust you. Yeah. What'd you say? Remember
I
the
could
free
do
church?
that. I'd be happy to do that. I'm free church, Unitarian. I can do anything.
And you're now holding affairs in front of an altar. You're talking about maybe getting another priest to bless it, but Percy looks at you, Ezekiel.
Okay. I'll. You want to read a blessing over it now?
Well, that's why you're here, isn't it?
Well, I'll certainly.
Or you're
no,
just going to
I
research
think
it, or
blessing is about as close. And see if anything happens. I think.
I may look at getting that funerary urn and get one as decorative and artistic as possible.
Ezekiel is going to bless the fez, and then you're going to put it straight in this funerary urn.
Carefully, without touching it directly, like
Without
using
touching it
tongs or
directly.
something.
And Ezekiel, are you ready to bless it?
I can bless it. Do we need it in the urn first?
Well, I was
You
thinking
need-
we could try putting holy water on it first, and then as we're putting it in the urn would be filled up with holy oil, blessed oil.
Okay, well, I have some
And then
holy
capped off.
water that I carry around with me.
Nice. The funerary urn will have a cap on there, right?
Okay, so I take the bottle of holy water, sprinkle it over the hat, still in the box. Benedict Domine nos et hec tua dona qui de tua largitatis summus sumpturi per Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, which we are glad to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Very cool.
And in the flickering candlelight, your mind wavers as you're saying this, and the fabric is pressing into your vision, twisting, folding, repeating itself in a way that should not be possible. Something behind your eyes clicks. You come to the realization the fez is not simply a hat. It's a shape that should not exist in 3 dimensions.
Oh, God.
This is unexpected.
The hairs go up on the
Yeah.
back of your neck.
Oh dear.
This is the fez of Satan.
Ezekiel,
Sorry about
you watch the fez as you do the blessing, and you are racked by paranoia. You suffer from severe paranoia. Everyone's out to get you. No one can be trusted. But you knew that, didn't you?
What the hell's happening? Who are you really? What's no. So I'm just rocking in a corner now, trying to get away from everyone.
Okay, where did we get the holy oil from then? Get some oil, get it blessed, and then submerge that fez into that holy oil. Then seal the lid of the funerary urn with some kind of glue or epoxy or resin or something so that it doesn't come open accidentally or intentionally.
How about wax? I think that's a
Wax?
pretty common sealant.
Wax, yeah, brilliant. Wax is a
Wax
good
will
one.
do it.
We'll also know if anyone breaks the seal. I think somebody should go. Was it the father who was sitting in the pew talking to himself? Okay.
I'll go
Yeah.
and kind of try to console him.
Let's abandon the tramp and get out of here.
You get back, and then once again you recognise Evan sitting at the station, waiting for the train. It's only a matter of time before you can hear the hissing of the steam train coming towards the station. It's hustle and bustle. The station suddenly becomes a cacophony of sounds, the hiss of steam and the rhythmic clanging of baggage cot as everybody gets ready to join and board the train. You've all got second-class tickets, unless you can upgrade personally, unless you've got a high enough credit rating.
The hell? I didn't agree to travel anywhere fucking second class.
You've got quite a high credit rating though, haven't you, Amelia?
I have, yeah.
So you can probably upgrade if you want to.
Yeah, but I think we need to go as a collective.
I have a
You
credit
might have
rate
to
of
slum it
18.
with us. You might have to slum it
Would a
with
credit
us plebs.
of 16, sorry, of 60 be enough?
Evan, you're
Yeah.
going first class.
Yeah, but does he want to separate himself from us necessarily?
Well, I don't know you.
In any case, I imagine it's assigned compartments anyway, so it'll be harder to stick together.
There's a hustle and bustle on the platform. You can see the train actually pulls up. Magnificent, spectacular train. And you can see people, conductors, and pushing baggage around. Everybody's starting to get onto the train. You can see a conductor coming up and down. He's called Henry. Bonjour, everyone. I'm Henry. Let me see your tickets. And he looks at your tickets and he tells you which carriage you should be getting on. It's a long train, 12 or 13 carriages long. Evan, you're going first class. You don't really know these guys. You know them to look at. They're the weirdos that you were listening to in the cafe.
I know that they speak English, which is probably pretty common on this train.
There'll be a real mix. English is the predominant language generally. Is everybody else going together in second class?
I mean, it makes sense.
I don't want to get separated, so.
I'm going to just hide under a seat for now.
I'm just too broke to do first class.
Have I got enough credit rating to upgrade everybody?
Oh, wait. If you got enough credit to upgrade every one of us, then I'm down for first class.
Well, that's when we all need to go. I mean, I think if we've got a credit
General-
rating of 50, isn't it like you can kind of spend like $200 a day without going
Right.
broke?
But, gentlemen, I got to tell you, I did not bring a dinner jacket. I know we're not just...
To get access to the bar or the saloon, you need to be in first class. It's first class
we
only.
need to get people in first class. Why did we not have this sorted out when we left London?
So you need to have one person in
Outrageous.
first class so they can go into the saloon as guests of someone in first class, or else you'll just be
Okay.
stuck in the buffet car for the entire journey.
Can I afford to upgrade everybody? Well, I'll upgrade myself then, and then at least they can come as my guests then, can't they? But I'll plumb it in second class with you guys, and as much as possible.
Amelia, you're going to upgrade and go in first class, but you're
Yeah.
probably going to spend most of your time sitting with them in their compartment.
Yeah.
Evan's been given a first class ticket because he's travelling to meet the Sultan. He's the Sultan's tax man. And everyone else is going second class in these double twin bunks. There's a timetable here. You can see what times you're arriving and when.
Gotta tell you, you Europeans are crazy. If this is your idea of second class, this is nicer than any than any home I've ever lived in.
So at the top of the train, we've got the locomotive engine, and that's got the engine in it. Then we've got the tender, which is full of coal or water that supplies the engine. Next, we've got the baggage car, which will hold your belongings. We've got the staff car, where the staff sleep. Henry the conductor and everybody else, servers and people like that. Kitchen staff. Then we've got staff in second class dining car. Now if there's no one in first class that you can go with, everybody else has to eat in the second class dining car, which is basically a buffet. It's pretty basic compared to first class. Then we've got the second class sleeping car, which is where most of the people are going to sleep. Not as nice as the first class. Then we've got the first class sleeping car, which is a step up, definitely a bit nicer and unimaginably more expensive, but through the day it turns into quite a nice little compartment that you can sit in. Then we've got the dining car. We've got a menu for each day that you can peruse if you'd like. Just click on the menu. Food here, it goes without saying, is absolutely exquisite. Michelin star food. Then we've got the salon and lounge car, and this is only accessible to first class guests. So you need someone in first class that can get everybody else in. And there's also a lounge which is attached to it. Then after the salon and lounge car, we've got private lounges or bars. So for example, there might be a private lounge for VIP guests or dignitaries.
Damn, that looks fancy.
It looks like a set, doesn't it? It's so nice.
And then behind that would be the final carriage, which would be grand suites for royalty. So the first class sleeping cars are towards the rear, further from the engine's noise and soot. The dining cars are normally central for accessibility. Luggage cars are near the front. You all get on the train. It is approximately 10:30 at night when the Orient Express pulls up and you all start getting on board. You try and find your cabins. Henry the conductor, hello, Henry is here. May I take your name, please? He consults a list and he gestures which way, making sure you're all in the appropriate cabin. The plush carpets underfoot muffle your steps as you step into a world of elegance and opulence.
So who am I bunking with? Who wants to sleep with the loud American?
Gary will, because he feels comfortable. I mean, he's got the fez, so he wants to make sure he's with the guy that has the gun.
Excellent.
Ezekiel will go by himself, probably, and Amelia's a lady in first class.
Yeah, and I've got my own gun.
I'm absolutely happy to be anywhere. I can be in second class.
The scent of varnished wood and fresh flowers greet you. Rich mahogany panelling inlaid with intricate marquetry lines the corridors. Plush carpets hush your footsteps while crystal chandeliers softly illuminate the interior. Each cabin boasts silk curtains, velvet upholstery, and brass fittings. Beds are made up with fine Egyptian cotton linens, and even the smallest compartments have the feel of a private boudoir. The passengers are as diverse as they are distinguished. A French industrialist discusses mergers with cognac with an Italian count. An American journalist scribbles notes, fascinated by the patchwork of European cultures. A Russian princess sips tea, her diamonds catching the light as she observes the scene with practiced detachment. Scholars, artists, spies and adventurers all mingle, their reasons for travel as varied as their accents. Meals in this train are events unto themselves, crafted by chefs whose reputations precede them. Breakfasts might include flaky croissants, golden brown and still warm, served with fresh butter and homemade preserves. A mid-morning snack of smoked salmon on delicate rye bread arrives with a glass of crisp white wine. Lunch will be a multi-course affair, velvety consommé garnished with fresh herbs, followed by tender lamb and rich red wine reductions paired with seasonal vegetables. And dessert will be gâteaux. The flavours will be exquisite. The lamb will be succulent, the wine perfectly aged, and chocolate rich without being overwhelming. You also get afternoon tea. And the evenings are normally social affairs. The lounge cars are alive with laughter and the clink of glasses as passengers share tales of their travels. A pianist plays softly in the background, segueing into familiar waltzes. In the smoking car, gentlemen puff cigars over games of backgammon and chess, while others read newspapers or discuss politics. Your cabins are a marvel of design. Compact, yet sumptuous space that exude refinement. The walls are panelled in rich mahogany, polished to a mirror sheen and accented with inlaid marquetry depicting exotic landscapes. Soft golden light filters through fringed lampshades, casting warm glows over the room. A small but exquisitely upholstered armchair sits near the window, offering a perfect view of the countryside that will soon blur into motion. Your bed's neatly made with crisp white linen, edged with fine embroidery. There's a velvet curtain covering the window, and small pillows sit invitingly at one end of the bed. There's a luggage rack to hold your belongings, and a discreet cupboard provides storage for your more delicate items. There's a small table, there's a cut glass carafe filled with cool water in a pair of crystal tumblers alongside a silver dish of sugared almonds and a single bloom of fresh rose in a slim vase. There's a brass call button, Amelia, in your first class room, and Evan, set into the wall, ready to summon an attendant should you require anything. That's only for first class.
All this talk of food almost made me hungry, and I ate a hefty breakfast this morning.
As you're all settling into your rooms, the faint vibration of the train preparing to depart reverberates through your cabin. The scent of polished wood and fresh linen mingles with the distant aroma of exquisite cuisine being prepared in the dining car. You cannot help but feel a thrill of anticipation. The journey promises to be unforgettable. It's about 10:30 in the evening. You've all boarded the train, you've settled yourselves in, you're in your cabins.
I think we need to get to know who our travel companions are. The reason why we left London early is because we felt that our journey to France would be compromised. So we got to France safely, but now we're actually on the train where...
This is the one you were supposed to be on.
This is the one that yeah. So I think we need to... either as a group or in small teams. I'm not sure. We need to scope out or try and get a copy of the manifest
Passenger
or something.
list.
Passenger list, yeah.
Bentley, is he still following us?
Bentley's on the train, yeah, he's got a ticket. He's staying in second class, a couple down from you. He said he's staying until Stuttgart, I think, didn't he?
I probably would want to have a discussion with Amelia, but not if Bentley's around, because I kind of don't trust the guy.
You get the feeling Bentley's walked towards the bar or the saloon. Evan, what are you doing today?
I'll probably just be, for the most part, staying in the lounge.
So as you walk in, you can see a few people sitting around. Evan, we'll put you at the bar. You're sitting there at the bar. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, I'll order some red wine.
Certainly, sir. There's a waiter with a white tuxedo top and a red handkerchief in his pocket, and he certainly, sir, and he starts pouring you a glass of the finest red wine. There's a few Russian men sitting at the end of the bar talking with thick Russian accents, talking French more than Russian, a sign of being aristocracy. One of them looks like he's a butler or something standing behind. One of the Russian men looks very aristocratic. He has the air of a count. You can see a young lady sitting, reading a small journal by herself. You can see your friend Bentley Burnham, and he is sitting talking to the most peculiar looking man. He's wearing loud, flamboyant clothes, he's got a cape, and he's wearing a red fez. He's got a moustache.
Does it look like an authentic Turkish fez or Egyptian, perhaps?
It looks more like a costume. Bentley Burnham's talking to this chap, and he looks like he's a showman, and he's talking with dramatic flair. He's throwing his arms around while he talks. He's got an extravagant opera cape, kind of pulls it as he moves around and lets it billow a little bit. You can see he tweaks his moustache as he talks.
Am I allowed to walk around with my drink?
You can see a very imposing looking man standing behind him with his arms folded like a minder, and he's also wearing a fez.
Once I have my drink, I'm gonna listen in on their conversation. I won't say anything.
So you walk over, and the two gentlemen look up, Bentley Burnham and this chap in the fez. They look up and they stop talking and they change the conversation. Good evening. They both stand up. The chap in the fez puts out his hand. Hieronymus Menkaff, at your service. And he bows very deeply.
I introduce myself. Evan Nye. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure indeed. I'm the mentalist. I'm a clairvoyant and psychic. I'm a paranormalist. And I'm a mystifier to the stars. I'm actually travelling to Constantinople to put on a show for the Sultan.
Oh, really? Is that true?
He's certainly a showman. He's definitely English. He's got an English accent, but he's dressed and he's got the mannerisms of a Turk. It's like he's adopted a persona or something like that.
Yeah.
Would you like a reading?
No, thank you, but I do really appreciate the offer.
If you're interested, I will be putting on a show tomorrow evening in this carriage. You're welcome to attend.
What time?
After dinner, I'll be putting on a demonstration of my mental abilities.
What sort of mental abilities?
Clairvoyance, mentalism, paranormalism. The show is called Menkaf Probes Our Souls. I trust you will join me.
Oh, absolutely.
Looking forward to seeing you.
How would you define your title?
I'm a mentalist, I'm a clairvoyant, I'm a psychic, paranormalist, mystifier to the stars. Did I tell you I'm travelling to meet the Sultan? What would you like to drink?
Oh, I'll instead of responding to him, I'll just indicate, I'll just kind of like gently raise the wine glass that I already have.
He claps twice, and the man standing behind him with his arms crossed. Topak, get this man another drink. And the man with the fez walks over to the bar and he orders another drink for all of them. Hieronymus is telling you about what an amazing mystifier and magician, picking up a spoon and he's bending it in front of you. And,
really?
Bentley Burnham is kind of...
What's the spoon made out of?
He hands it to you.
I'll is it a steel spoon, a silver
It seems
spoon?
quite strong, yeah, it's silver. The finest silver.
I'm impressed. I hand it back to him.
Thank you, sir. So we've got two Russians really talking. There's a Russian aristocrat who's Count Rudolf Razumsky, and he's talking to Peter Tobolsky, and they're deep in conversation about anarchism, revolution, and the aristocracy. It's 1893, Das Kapital has been written, and Ugorov, the butler, is standing behind them, dutifully, a bit like Topak is for Menkaf. They've both got their butlers or minders.
I imagine they're not big fans of anarchists.
They're talking about that. Obviously, the Count is an aristocrat.
Conquest of Brethren. Yeah, it's been written. That's a Russian book.
Russian and Marx and stuff.
And the urn, I would I'd want to hide the funerary urn in my See, I'm kind of worried about where to put it because I feel like it's going to get ransacked if I put it in my quarters. It could get ransacked if I put it where you're expected to put your luggage. So I'm like a little paranoid as to what to do with it.
You could just keep it on you in like a briefcase.
Yeah, I'll do that.
If we're talking about the hat, I think it needs to be with someone at all times, really.
Yeah.
I'll hide it in my doctor's bag.
Karl Marx's Capital, first volume, was published in 1867. Volumes 2 and 3 were edited and published posthumously in 1885 and 1894. By 1893, Marx's thought was spreading rapidly across Europe, including Russia, but communism was still a radical fringe movement, not yet the dominant revolutionary force it would become.
Yeah. What about Kropotkin?
Anarchist movements, mainly at the minute, are Budikin and Kropotkin. The People's Will had assassinated the Tsar in 1881, that happened 2 years ago. But the Tsarist regime responded brutally by executing people, secret police crackdowns, and the Gulag. Lenin at this time was a young activist, but the Bolshevists will not form until 1903. Right now, radical politics in Russia are fractured, with anarchist socialists and early Marxists competing for influence. The Tsarist state, under Alexander III, was representative and paranoid. The Okhrana are the secret police, and they hunt down the revolutionaries. It's the anarchists, not yet the communists.
Yeah.
Evan Nye is in the car and he's making small talk. What's everyone else doing? You're sitting in Amelia's first class compartment, or you're all huddled together, sitting on bunks with your legs hanging over, chatting about what to do next?
I mean, what I would like to do is find either the conductor or somebody. I want a list of the passengers.
The door opens and the conductor, Henry, sticks his head around the corner. Hello. Henry is here. Can I help you in any way?
Oh, Henry. I don't know if are you familiar with my father? I'm the daughter of the very well-known explorer. I'm sure he's probably been on this train a number of times. Sir Meredith Meadowcroft?
May we? It happens that Henry actually knows your father quite well, and they're on first-name terms because your father... I suppose you're a bit like Louis Theroux, who's got a famous father who was named for travel writing.
So yeah, but I'm just gonna rinse that for everything I can. So I'm gonna switch to French, and I'm gonna say, Henry, if you could just, maybe you could help me. It's a very sensitive problem that I have at the moment. I've had to leave London. There are, as you can imagine, for a lady like myself, there are a number of very aggressive suitors that are interested in marriage.
Oh,
And
madame.
no, I don't want to cause any alarm, but I think there may be a few that may actually be on this train.
Okay, he looks up at the 5 men in your cabin.
I shake my head no vigorously.
I'm just gonna say,
I'll make the sign of the cross.
I'm travelling heavily protected, as you can see. But I could really do with a list of the passengers that are on this train and their cabins, just so I can plot my movements around the train without maybe bumping in to some of these aggressive suitors. Is that something you could assist me with, Henry? Obviously, I would compensate you for your time.
Ah, well, that's a bit of a strange request, madame. We do whatever we can to make your trip as pleasant as possible. Could you give me a persuasion check?
Could I get away with fast talk?
Yeah.
I would be very discreet.
He slips a little note under the door.
Oh, thank you. I will slip a very hefty tip for his troubles. What I'm going to do is just so we know when all the stops are. I think what we need to be doing is trying to, so whether we make multiple copies of this and have like a little register and make sure that somebody is checking who is getting off when and who's getting on, even if we don't know their names, just actually really monitoring who's getting off and who's getting on the train.
Yep, makes sense. Even if it's a description of the person, that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Are you happy to let the evening slip by?
I'd like to talk to the young lady. Just introduce myself. It's not a big train. I'll have to get to know everyone eventually.
You go over and you introduce yourself to the young lady. She looks up and she says, "Oh, hello there." She puts out a hand to shake it.
I shake her hand.
"My name is Aileen McGregor." She's a young Scottish lady. She carries herself with confidence and she's got auburn hair pulled back in no-nonsense fashion. She's practical yet stylish. She's got a notebook in front of her, and she's got sharp green eyes. "I'm travelling to Constantinople. I'm a Christian suffragette and a reporter for the Woman's Herald. I'm interested in international issues, and I'm independently wealthy. I'm self-funding a fact-finding mission to the Ottoman Empire. So, what are you doing here?"
Oh, I'm headed to Constantinople myself for business, and I'll introduce my law firm, my now former law firm. I'll tell her I'm based out of Cardiff. I don't offer any more information beyond that.
"I'm interested in the Armenian question and the nationalists and the Christians in Armenia. They're being trapped very badly by the Turks. I intend to go to the Ottoman court to find answers."
I'm going to listen to her about it, and I'd like to just kind of probe questions. Oh well. What are they doing with the Armenians?
"There's growing tension between the Ottoman Empire and the Armenian Christian population, don't you know? For decades, Armenians have faced systemic discrimination, heavy taxation, and periodic violence under Ottoman rule. I fear the situation may get much worse. Next year, nobody knows this, but there will be massacres. Thousands of Armenians will be killed in government-sanctioned pogroms."
My character doesn't really know much about this situation, so I'm gonna ask, well, what about the Bulgarians? They're Christian subjects as well. Is their treatment any different?
Well, that's what I intend to go and find out, whether it's a question of race or a question of religion. She says, "Anyway, what you make about everybody else on the train?" And she tilts her head towards Hieronymus, who bursts out laughing. I think he's a bit sleazy.
I'd have to agree. We'll have to see. Looks can be deceiving after all. Believe that he's got something else going on with. He claims to be off to perform for the Sultan himself.
Apparently so, that's what he told me, but I can't believe it myself. A bit of a charlatan. But anyway, I'm going to go and watch his show tomorrow night. It looks like it might be quite interesting.
Well, not much else to do on the train. What are you going to do? Is stay in your cabin?
Exactly, and drink. I don't really believe in spirits and things, but it might be interesting to see what it comes out with.
Yeah.
I'd like to go out and mingle a little bit and just make my presence known. Hopefully bump into this mentalist. So I'm just going to go over to the dude with the fez and...
If I see the guy with the fez, can I see if they look like the people that were following us back in London? Outline-wise?
Outline-wise, yes. We've got Gary and we've got Amelia going into the lounge.
Yeah, I was going to get an early night, but I'm not letting Gary out of my sight with the urn. I'm the guard.
Gary.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got it in the suitcase.
Oh, well, if you take the suitcase with you, then I'll go with you. Otherwise, I will just simply guard the suitcase.
Oh, in that case, I could leave it with Percy. If he's willing to stay behind and guard it, that's fine. He's the guy with the gun after all. So, yeah.
I will not leave my post.
I would like to talk to people in third class, if possible.
There isn't a third class, there's only the second class.
Second
And
class, rather.
People are in their private cabins. It would be knocking on doors and introducing yourselves to people.
Oh, that's a great angle to work, isn't it, really?
It really is.
Harass people
Yeah.
constantly.
Okay, so first of all, we've got Amelia and we've got Gary in the lounge. You walk in, you can see 3 Russians. You can see a count and his aristocratic cousin, and they're standing there with their butler at the bar. You can see Aileen McGregor, the Scottish Christian journalist. You can see the tax lawyer, dull and plain but professional-looking man sitting. He's talking to the Scottish woman. You can also see this mystifier, Hieronymus Menkaff, and he's sitting with Bentley Burnham, the journalist, and they're talking to each other. When you walk in, they look at you and they talk to each other and they look at you and you're sure they're talking about you.
I'm going to head up to the bar and I'm just going to be all smiles to everybody, you know.
A very attractive lady walks in, Amelia.
Yeah,
Everybody,
yeah. Strutting
Especially
through.
the young Russian man at the
Evening,
bar,
good evening.
Peter Tabursky. He looks at you. Good evening, madame. And the barman smiles at you. Good evening, madam. May I get you a drink?
Yes, please. So I think I'm going to have whatever is socially acceptable at that time for a woman. I'm trying to
Small
not
sherry.
Sure. Yes.
Hot chocolate or something? I don't know.
Yeah, hot chocolate or something like that. And you can see these Russians chatting quietly. You can see the Scottish Aileen McGregor talking to Evan Nye, the tax lawyer. And you can see Hieronymus Menkaff, when he's not whispering to Bentley Burnham, when he thinks you're looking at him, he's being extravagant and talking loudly so you can hear him. And I'm a mystifier, and I'm travelling to Turkey. You can hear this all very clearly across the entire lounge.
Now, is there a mirror in this room where I could try to observe that weirdo without looking like I'm observing him?
There's bound to be, yes. I thought you were going to try and catch his reflection to see if he's a vampire or not. But yeah, you can. You can maybe try and surreptitiously watch him through the mirror. So you're not staring at him.
The fact that Bentley is talking to people that look at least roughly like the guys that were following us confirms my suspicions somewhat. And it gives me the impression that we should not trust any of them. Especially not Ben. I didn't trust Bernard to begin with, but I now have more cause not to trust him. So I will whisper as much to Amelia. The fact that this Bentley guy seems to be talking to Minkoff is doubly cause for concern. But I'll say it in French. I'll whisper it in French, not in American English.
I'm just going to give a knowing glance.
Menkaff, he looks at you both, and he kind of holds your gaze for a couple of seconds longer than what would be normal. And then he goes back to being very flamboyant. If there's anybody in here who'd like a reading, I can feel the spirits are in the room right now.
I would love a reading.
Ah, my dear friends, you arrive at the most opportune moment. Fate, it seems, has drawn you to my humble table. And he looks at you, Ezekiel, and his smile fades as he sees you. Ah, he exhales. Yours is a path of light, is it not?
More grey, I think, but I'll try my best.
A soul meant to guide, to comfort, but how cruel the world is to those who seek to make sense of it. He lifts his hand, palm facing you, but he does not touch you. You've seen it, haven't you?
Seen what?
His gaze sharpens. His voice drops to a knowing hush. The greatest wound of all is not that you do not believe. It is that you do, and you now wonder if it was ever the truth at all. He straightens, smoothing his cuffs. Tell me, holy man, when the veil lifts again, will you run, or will you step forward and listen? You are haunted by something, yes?
Aren't we all?
Something you should not have seen?
Be more specific.
Would you like to understand it?
I think you'd have to be more specific. I'm familiar with flimflammery, but...
Maybe we could speak later on. I think private reading may be in order for you, Mr. Baptiste.
I think I enjoy that, thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else? I can feel the spirits in the room.
I would like a reading. This seems fun.
Amelia, I'd like to bend over backwards to show you my third eye. I'm going to blow you away.
Oh.
You're a Pisces, yes?
Maybe.
Correct. You may be a Pisces. Now, I'd like you to think of a number between 1 and 10. What is it?
7.
4, 7.
3.
5. 5. Well done, everybody. Demonstration of my powers.
Do I notice? I've been sitting on the little couch on the lounge. Have I noticed any difference between the first reading and the second one there?
He seems to be flipping between. Maybe he's presenting himself as a bit of a showman, as a bit of a buffoon, but maybe there's a bit more to it.
Was he not just threatened by a man of the cloth?
Maybe.
I will offer myself next to do the reading, but I do so with the intent of thinking of a fake alias, of thinking of a false persona, if you will, and see if he catches on. Like, I'm thinking of my name as Michael Johnson, and see if he falls for it, if he somehow knows my name.
Mr. Johnson. Ah, yes. And he puts his hand on your shoulder and he shuts his eyes. I'm getting somebody coming through. It's a man?
My character may have lost a grandfather about 3 years ago.
He says he's looking for his watch. Now, this is interesting. I'm getting a mind that's equations, instruments, calculations. What about... He leans forwards, his voice drops to an intimate whisper. You've asked a question, haven't you? A theory, an experiment, an answer that frightens you. Is that right?
Perhaps.
His fingers twitch as if grasping at invisible strings. Question is, though, will you turn back while you still can? Or should you carry on into the unknown? Oh, that was a heavy one. Spirit's fading now. And he's sitting down, he's holding his head. Says, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this demonstration of my psychic abilities. I will be putting on another demonstration tomorrow night, where I will probe our souls.
Okay, well, it looks like I managed to at least trick him on my name. What's this expression like? Is it like I'm entertained, or is it like, I'm on to you?
It's hard to tell. I think you will find your answer, he says to you as you leave, but not in the way you expect.
I'm gonna say, well, come on, buddy. I mean, it's just an act, isn't it? From one con artist to another. It's just an act. Come on.
He's got a napkin in front of him, and he's got a pencil doodling on this napkin as you're chatting to him. He goes, yes, Mr. Baptiste, you don't believe in any of that mumbo-jumbo?
I didn't say that. I'm asking you.
And he's doodling on this napkin in front of you as you're chatting, and you're watching as he doodles. The angles intersect, the planes.
Is he drawing a tesseract?
Something you recognise. He stares at you. Does that look familiar to you?
Well, I mean, you could have read my face as you were drawing in order to make an approximation of what was on my mind, but that is very specific. It is, yes. How did you know that?
Well, I sensed it. The moment I saw you, I could tell the spirits are hanging around you like a dirty cape. I've met another who speaks of folding spaces, of screaming geometries beyond the walls of our world. Such visions, they're rare, Mr. Baptiste. They mark a man. He taps his temple, his smile widening.
Care to expand on that?
Would you like to understand it?
Yes.
There are some things that should not be spoken of in public. Maybe we should have this conversation in my cabin.
Okay.
You feel as if he's dangling this in front of you.
If I say the word yes...
He says, if you'd like to know more, Ezekiel, and I know you do, why
So
don't
what's
you
his
come
eyes
round to
doing?
my cabin later on? His eyes are mystifying you.
Yes, certainly. I'll meet with you later.
I look forward to it. Claps his hands. Topak, get this man a drink. Amelia is watching. You're trying to put the names to the faces maybe on your guest list?
Yes, yeah. Also, is there any music playing? Have we got any dancing going on? Yeah, I'm just gonna. Who was it that? There was a Russian dude, wasn't there, that was giving me the eye when I came in?
A young Russian aristocrat, gentry, sitting, talking to an old grizzled. He's a Russian count.
I think what I might do is just shimmy. You know, not too thirsty like, but just shimmy over his way, and just do a bit of moves to the music. See if he wants to come and join me.
Ah, you travellers, yes, come, join us. No finer way to pass a night on the trails than with strong drink and good company. And he gestures to you, almost grabbing you around the waist.
I couldn't agree more.
And the old Russian, or bad company, that remains to be seen.
I'm just going to look at him and say, oh, I like you already.
Ignore him. He enjoys the role of being a brooding Russian. But tell me, what brings you on this fine journey? Business, pleasure? or something more interesting?
Oh, I would say maybe it's more pleasure, but maybe some business. I'm looking for opportunities outside of London, you see. So why not just hop on the train? I'm travelling with some associates, and yeah, I will get off at Constantinople and see what awaits.
Life is too short for worries. Have another drink. Let's enjoy the finer things, yes?
Yes, why not? Well, we're gambling with him now.
Well, he's
Yeah.
pulling out some cards. He's getting the drinks in. He's obviously,
Yeah.
capitalising on the fact that he's got your attention.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna say, why are you travelling?
Count Romansky. I'm his cousin. I'm accompanying him on a trip to Constantinople. He's going to the Sultan's ball.
How exciting!
Yes, it is. The Count humps and puffs.
Oh, so did you not agree, Cat?
Oh, yes, we're going to the ball, indeed, yes. I am not very happy tonight, he says as he drinks. Peter leans into you. The Count is on this trip to try and save his marriage.
A noble endeavour.
Yeah, I'm just accompanying them. And he winks
well,
at you. He winks at you.
I just blush. I'm going to pretend. I'm not going to drink everything he gives me. I'm going to pretend to be drinking it, but I'm not looking to get hammered. I don't have the Russian constitution, so
You can tell they're aristocratic Russians because they speak as much French as they do Russian.
yeah. So I'm just going to be friendly. I'm trying to, I'm happy to sit there and play cards with them. I'm not going to push too much. I'm just, trying to put faces to the names and see people who could potentially be allies or support over the coming journey. Gesundheit.
Sorry.
And the Russians are getting drunk, talking about politics and everything in between. And I don't think Evan's really introduced himself or spoken to anyone else in the group. So, Evan,
No,
you can
I've
see...
been watching.
You watch Hieronymus give readings to a couple of the groups. Some of them seem quite deep and interesting, and others of them just seem like complete bullshit. He did offer you a reading, but you declined, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I've kind of noticed that it's mostly been bullshit aside from that first one. Although I am curious, I don't really want to ask while he's in the room. So I might go find Ezekiel or Amelia maybe later. But for the time being, I just want to hear about these poor Armenians. I'll ask about what about the Greeks and the Bulgars.
Generally speaking, the Ottoman Empire is on the decline.
Yeah.
A lot of the European countries or powers are trying to get their knife in.
I'll mention the Berlin Congress, Russia carving up the Balkans.
Yeah, there's a lot of instability, and there are pockets of Christians and other minorities that are becoming isolated and they're becoming oppressed. The Christians in Armenia are part of the Ottoman Empire and they're ruled over by the Sultan, and she wants to ask the Sultan what his views are. She's a suffragette and a woman's advocate. I would maybe even like to meet the Sultan and have his ear and really get to the point of what's going on.
I'll just say hopefully that pressure, foreign pressure, will keep the Turks merciful, their subjects.
Last orders, everyone. Last orders. Little bell rings.
Oh, some hot chocolate, please.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna have to pass. I'm already uncomfortably double fisting from the drink that Capoc ordered me.
I'll have a hot chocolate, nothing alcoholic. I'm still I'm trying to keep a discreet side-eye glance on that Minkoff and definitely Birmingham.
I'll have a half pint of milk for
Boy,
something to
drinks.
line my stomach.
Menkaf announces, well, it is time for me to retire for the night. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you all tomorrow for the show. With a flamboyant twirl, and his cape spins around and heads towards the door. Capoc, his minder, follows behind him, and Bentley finishes off his drink. He looks as if he's about to retire for the night soon as well. Bentley looks over at you, says, well, it was nice to meet you. Maybe we'll meet each other again, who knows? I'm going to get off tomorrow quite early in Stuttgart, 6 o'clock in the morning, so if I don't see you again, all the best. It's been a pleasure.
Can I follow the mesmerist?
You're going to follow the mesmerist straight back? You're going to press him on that?
So I follow the mesmerist.
Ah, Baptiste, you are keen, aren't you?
Well, I was interested in what you had to say. I still don't really buy it, but I'd be interested to know what you have to say alone.
So I'll wait till the mesmerist is gone along with the others, and I'll introduce myself to Evan as Gary Walter.
Oh, hi, I'm Evan, traveling to Constantinople, same as you, I imagine.
Oh, but of course, I have some other trips along the way, but I check and make sure...
By on the way.
Oh, yes, of course. I have a peculiar journey ahead of me. I look to see if Minkoff is completely gone before I say anything more.
Is Mencap gone?
Mancaf is walking down the corridor with Ezekiel behind him.
So what does the magician want with your friend?
I don't know. I'm a little troubled by it, to be honest. I can't put my finger on it, but this magician, he seems to be good at guessing names without being told them.
So do you think he's actually going to go perform for the Sultan, or do you think he has other business in Constantinople?
Suffice to say, I think he has other intentions, but at this time, I don't feel I'm quite at liberty to divulge those details yet.
At least to me, he hardly seems like the taste of royalty.
No, I don't imagine the Sultan would suffer such a charlatan. I mean, such gimmicks and scams and dare I say even sorcery would be horribly punished in such a caliphate as the Ottoman Empire.
Oh, yeah. Well, best just to leave him alone, stay out of those kinds of unsavory business.
We cut back to Ezekiel Baptiste. He walks into Mancaf's cabin and the door shuts behind him.
Okay, so be honest. Have you been rifling through my things?
That's quite an accusation, Mr. Baptiste. What gives you that idea?
Well, you knew about the Tesseract. There is no other way you could know it. I don't believe in psychic phenomena. I mean, I've had some curious experiences in my life, but there are certainly other explanations.
Mr. Baptiste, the moment I saw you, the spirits enveloped you, and what I drew was channeled to me.
Channeled by whom?
You struggle because you believe this is about faith, Mr. Baptiste. It is not. There is no faith in this world, only knowing. And you have already seen more than most.
That's a very mysterious thing to say. I'm not entirely... I mean, yes, there's questioning as well, which I'm doing right now, so...
You draw it, Mr. Baptiste, over and over. The mind is just a door. You think you are dreaming? No, you are remembering. He taps his fingers on the table. The mind is a door. The question is, Mr. Baptiste, will you open it? It's always incomplete, isn't it? It's always wrong. I could help you. Do you want to see it properly?
Yes, if you can.
Then we cut back. Is everybody else just retiring for the night?
Not until someone comes back to the compartment.
You're
Probably,
waiting.
Well, it'd be Gary.
You're guarding the Fez still. You've been there all the time?
Exactly. And I'm not going to sleep until I'm relieved.
Gary, are you returning straight to the room?
Yeah, I am.
I want to confront the journalist because he's getting off tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Bentley Burnham.
When everyone's leaving, I want to follow Bentley, and to be honest, I just want to grill him and ask him, why did you approach us? Why did you take so much interest in us as a group
You're going to give
at
him
the
some
train
grief.
station? I'm going to give him a bit of grief because if he's going off tomorrow, then he might have a snippet of some information or something. Because I'd spoken to him before, hadn't I? And I'd caught him out on some lies about where he grew up or whatever. So I want to know what his intentions were.
You know what? You remind me of someone I once knew. Pity what happened to them though. But then some paths are walked only once.
Are you threatening me?
Hey, look, I'm just a man doing a job. If you don't mind, it's late. I'm very busy.
And what job is that, Mr. Burnham?
He looks at
I
you.
don't believe that you are a journalist.
Give me a fast talk or a...
Right.
Some kind of intimidate.
I do have my gun, but I'm not going to pull it out yet. It's a regular success.
Success.
I'll spend 3 to make it a hard success.
Yeah, I'm a journalist. Well, I dig into things. I find things out. You might call me private investigator. I was hired by Mancaf to follow you on the train, find out what's going on. But you didn't get the train, did you? By the time I caught up with you, I could barely find out anything useful.
Well, I don't think you understand the gravity of what you've got yourself tied up in. So I suggest you take great care. And I would like you to explain to me why Mencaf wanted information on us. I would like to give you the opportunity to share more if there is anything that you haven't told us. I'm sure you already know where our cabins are. If you would like to reach out and maybe cleanse yourself of any...
Maybe I could tell you over breakfast tomorrow if you'd like to meet me before I get off the train.
I'll indulge you, Mr. Barnum. I'm going to then head to the second class carriages for now to debrief with the rest of the crew before I go to my own.
And you head back to the carriage to meet the rest of them.
Yeah, if they're all in there, I'm going to tell them what he said, and clearly this. But I don't know if Ezekiel's not back. I think we might need to consider. So we're going to go back to the carriage. I'm going to assume Ezekiel's not back yet because he's still with Mencaf. So I'm going to speak to the other guys and say that Mencaf is shady as fuck. I've spoken to the journalist, and he's the one that sent the journalist after us, and he knows about the fez.
Ezekiel returns, quiet, pensive, lost in thought. He puts his notebook in his pocket as he walks back into the room.
Yeah, I've just had a very interesting conversation with him. He claimed to know about the fez. I denied everything, of course, but then he made a drawing of different aspects of this tesseract that I saw and offered to translate the glyphs on the fez. I thanked him and left. I didn't commit to anything. Is he to be trusted? He wants us to bring the fez to him.
You made copies of the glyphs?
I did, yes.
Yeah, so if we wanted to show him, we don't have to show him the fez. I don't know whether to trust him yet. When's he getting off?
Menkaf is travelling. He's got an audience with the Sultan.
Oh yeah, he's going all the way, isn't he? Yeah,
yes, he will be at the Sultan's ball.
Yeah,
mystifying.
We don't have to...
I think we should think about how to approach him and maybe put him on the back foot.
It's not an urgent thing to meet him, is it?
Yeah.
It's not like he's getting off tomorrow. I'm going to tell everybody as well that I've agreed to some kind of breakfast date with the journalist because he claims he might have more information or... Yeah.
Evan, what are you doing? Evan, are you joining? Are you going back with everyone, or are you just remaining independent for the time being?
Oh, I'm remaining independent, but I think my intention right now is I'd like to talk to, I'd like to look for Amelia and get her take tomorrow morning over breakfast. I'm really suspicious, and I want to know what this guy has to do with the Sultan if he does. I'm curious. I like to stay out of trouble, but maybe I'm a little bit nosy.
You spent most of your time talking to the Scottish journalist. You're like an international traveller, businessman. You're the kind of person that you would expect to meet on the Orient Express. And you're heading back to your room. The train's swaying gently, and you hear the clock strike 12 as you head down the corridor, the gentle rhythm of the rails, the gaslight flickers, but as you head towards your room, the darkness here seems heavier. The darkness is like ink pooling on the floor. Up ahead, you hear a sound. A whisper of movement. There's a blackness up ahead.
I approach.
Something moves. You can see a shadow. Deeper than the rest, sliding along the length of the carriage, along the floor. It isn't cast by any figure. There's nobody there, just you at the end of the corridor.
I reach out to grab the shadow.
You reach out to grab the shadow. There's no source for it, there's no figure casting it, just an absence where something should be, and it's moving like liquid along the ground. You move along, you try and touch it. You see long, clawed, shadowy fingers reaching out across the walls, smearing darkness in its wake. The figure's head tilts, but there's no features, just a gaping void where the face should be. A skull. A skull shape flickers, struggling to hold its form. A fez shape. The air thickens.
I scream.
The lamps dim right down, and it disappears in the darkness. When the lamps come back up, it's not there. The lights flare, the train shudders, and for a moment, the world snaps back into focus. The shadow's gone.
We heard that scream, though, didn't we?
Yeah, and it'd probably be in the first class corridor.
Yeah, Amelia, you're in first class. You definitely hear it.
Well, everyone's in my room currently.
You hear the scream, you open the door, and you see Evan standing there, white-faced. A single, breathless whisper lingers in the air. The train rocks gently forwards as if nothing happened at all.
We usher him into my room.
I'll offer him a drink from my flask.
Yeah, I take it. I'm already a bit drunk, but take another sip. And I describe it as the shadowy figure, but had completely bright skull and completely unshrouded red fez, just like Menkaf's.